signed.
Ready to get a listing? I'm not ready to sign a listing yet.
Too bad you're going to sign it whether you like it or not. Not leaving.
Cool. All right, so most of the people here in this room have seen this presentation before in some way, shape, or form. Mike, back when when Mike first started real estate, he got licensed in 2000. And Jim did this, I did this. It was nonstop prospect. This is back when people actually answered their phone.
Yes.
And we would do. Mike was really good at getting for sale by owner listings, which are like almost the toughest ones to get, right?
Yep.
So this has evolved over the years. So Mike's gonna go through his process, what he does in order to get a listing, and what I really want you guys to pay attention to is like all the stuff before you even go to the listing appointment is kind of the most important.
Yes.
Alrighty, so without further ado, how do you want Liz to change over the slide? Just want to point to her when you're ready to go to the next page?
I'll just say next slide.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Sweet, and then you want to stand or do you want to sit?
Yeah, so I'll stand for a little bit, and then when we do our role play, I'll sit.
Okay.
A little bit of context on this. This is taken from the Mike Ferry scripts. And this is when we were cranking out over 100 listings a year. So I was probably going on 2 listing appointments a week, minimum. And we're just cranking them out one after another. And we were doing so many of them, the CEO called banker said, why are you getting all these listings? And we said, well, we have a system that we do that works really well. And then she got us on to Cardis, and there was another company where it was relocation. So they gave you a lead out to 3 of the top agents. And almost 90% of the time we got the listing. We didn't know these people, had no idea who they were, no relationship. We would just walk away with the listing majority of the time. So they eventually sent a film crew down to film us doing our listing presentation, and they've used it as a tool for like 5 or 6 years.
They did.
Corporate. They used it, corporate used it without my permission. But anyway, they used it.
You didn't get paid on it?
Nah, yeah, I'm sure. I'm waiting for the check. So the point of the matter is we've dialed it in over the years, right? Everyone's going to have their own variation of it. However, if you stick to this format and the way it flows, you're going to be one step ahead of anybody else that they are interviewing. Because I can guarantee you our first step that we're going to go through, almost no one does. And if you were to poll the sellers, right, and say, okay, who's going to be the most impressive and most prepared, they're always usually going to go with that person. Right, so when I would send this information, I already was ahead of anybody else that they were talking to, because no one else is doing that. And then when you follow the process and ask the questions the right way to get the information you need, you're going to decide whether or not you're even going to go on the appointment, right? But if you don't ask the questions, you don't know because you...
Back up real quick. So
yes.
you're going to decide if you want to go on the appointment.
Correct,
So
yes.
Go into what you mean by that.
So just because you talk to a seller and they say, I'm ready to sell, doesn't mean you're going to sell that house. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. We've turned down many listings where they haven't agreed to what we wanted to do, don't want to pay commission, all this stuff. And back then, when you took a listing, it cost you a lot of money to take it and not sell it. So if they weren't going to listen to what we were going to do and they weren't motivated enough, then we wouldn't take the listing.
So you would figure all that out before even going
Correct.
into the house,
Correct.
doing your pre-qualification.
Right. I don't have time to drive an hour away to sit there for 2 hours and then drive home and then not do anything with it. It just doesn't make any sense. So I learned the hard way. And when I did it the first time, I was driving all over the world for a listing appointment. Anybody that would give me a listing appointment, I went to. Didn't know what I was doing. People would tell me to leave. I fumbled through it, and I just learned on the job. And then when we started doing the training, it really honed in our skills, right? So I really didn't deviate from this much, and it worked consistently all the time, no matter who we were up against. And at the end of the day, it gives you a lot of opportunity because the seller is going to know that you guys are prepared.
Yep. And just case in point, a month ago, you went on a listing appointment, and the guy already interviewed 5 people before you.
Yes. And a perfect example, Carl. So we sent him all the information ahead of time, and as soon as we sat down, he's like, I got to tell you, no one has ever done this. I've sold 10 houses in my life, worked with 10 different realtors. No one's ever done this. You guys obviously know what you're doing. You know the market. Everything you sent me just proves that you know what's going on. So instant credibility off the bat. So we went into the presentation, he was already thinking that we knew what we were talking about, right? So going down there and asking the right questions, being on the same page, he basically signed on the spot. There's no reason not to. So I think when you do those things, you can consistently do it over and over again, repetitive, and understand what you're doing, you're going to make it a lot easier when you're going through this. You're not reading off a script. You're just basically following the flow of the questions that you want to ask. Yep. Cool. All right. So like I said, like Matt said, over 50% of my listing presentation was done before I ever went to the house. Right. And this is the really important part. And this is what they used to teach us, was the pre-qual. So if I'm on the phone, right, and there's two ways to do it. It's either if you got somebody on the phone for the first time and they have the time to go through this, do it right off the bat. If not, set the appointment, right? And then I would call up and I say, hey, I have some questions I want to go over before we come out to the property. Would that be okay? And these are the questions that we would ask, right? So if you want to role play,
yeah,
right? Hello, I'm looking for Matt.
Speaking.
Hey, Matt. This is Mike. We talked the other day regarding your property here in Conshohocken. And we're doing some research. I just wanted to go over a couple things to be prepared for our appointment. Would that be all right?
Yeah, that's fine, Mike.
Awesome. Listen, it's going to be important because I see that you and your wife own the property. Will both of you guys be there at the appointment when I come out on Friday?
Do you need both of us there?
It's important to have both decision makers there. You're both on a deed. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to be there, and if I liked you, then I was going to have you come back later to see and you could talk to my wife as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wouldn't waste your time because it's going to be important for us to have both decision makers there. If I tell you something, you might not be able to tell your wife the exact same thing. So how about we reschedule it for a time that works for both of you?
I can make sure that she comes there.
Okay. All right, perfect. Great. So what I want to do is just go over these questions to make sure I have all the right information. Remind me again, what's prompting you to move this year?
We're just looking to get a house out like near Westchester.
It's a great area. Great area. What brings you out there?
You know what? We raised our kids here, and we had a great time here. But now, as we're getting older, we really have some other friends and family that live closer to Westchester, so it's like driving back and forth.
Makes sense. We help a lot of people that are getting closer to family, so completely understand that. What's your ideal time frame of being out in Westchester?
Well, I'd love to be there by the end of the year.
Okay. So by the beginning of 2027, you want to be in your new home?
I would say by Christmas.
Ooh, Christmas. Yeah. Celebrating Christmas in your new place. I like it. Perfect. Well, it's not timing now because we're right in the middle of the summer, so we can absolutely make that happen.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. And I'll get into the market, tell you how we do things. But what I want to find out is the condition of your home.
Okay.
Right? Have you done any repairs recently, or is there any repairs you know of that need to be done?
Oh, yeah. Everything's brand new.
Everything's brand new.
Yeah, I did the kitchen 15 years ago.
Gotcha, yeah.
Just put new flooring in when we bought the house.
Yeah.
New windows. Yeah,
okay.
They're like 12 years old.
Gotcha.
Brand new roof.
Yep.
It comes with a warranty. That was done 17 years ago.
Cool, gotcha. All right. So let me ask you this. On a scale of 1 to 10, Matt, 1 being a terrible house, 10 being the best house in the world, move right in, don't need anything. Where would you rate your house?
It's close to a 10. It's 9.
Okay. What would make it a 10?
Make it a 10. I guess the air conditioner works great and the heater works great, but it's the original one.
Oh.
So maybe if that was like brand new, hot water heater, again, it works great, but that's probably about 15 years old.
Okay.
But yeah, besides that, maybe a couple of the mechanicals, and maybe people want to do like cosmetic updates, painting.
Yeah, it's normal. That's normal, and then, obviously updating the mechanicals is one thing. So I'm making notes while we're talking. Let me ask you too. Public records I sent you. Is there anything that's changed? Because I see here the square footage. You didn't do any additions or anything like that that would make this information different than what it is.
We did do a powder room in the back with a mud room, real small. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that helps. Great. They doesn't reflect that on the public records a lot, so that's why we always ask.
Oh, so they don't automatically update that?
No, you would think that they would. Most of the time, the square footage is never right, no matter where I go, which county.
Oh, okay.
So we have to verify that information, which is really important.
Okay.
So I appreciate you doing that.
And then my basement. I finished my basement.
Ooh.
Does that count too in the square footage?
It might. Is it finished walkout?
Yeah, you can walk out. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll take a look at that because that's a very good possibility we could add that square footage onto it.
Okay.
Perfect. That's good information to have. So Matt, Are you planning on interviewing other agents for the job of getting your home sold?
Yeah. Betsy's going to make me interview multiple agents.
Multiple agents. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Betsy seems like she wants to get second opinions.
Whew.
All right.
Betsy's tough. Betsy's tough.
Hey, listen, we're here to be a resource. Let me ask you this. Who are the agents that you're going to interview?
Well, there were some really good agents. There was a Danielle Shattuck.
Okay.
Shattuck?
No, I've heard of her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was this one guy, he's a good-looking guy, bald head, Mark Diddy.
Oh, yeah, Mark. I know Mark really well. Yeah. He doesn't sell anything out here, man, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Okay. Yeah. So far, just those two, but I got to talk to Betsy. I don't know if she has anyone else lined up.
Okay. May I ask you how you pick those agents?
My neighbor knew Mark because they play this beer league roller skating hockey together.
Okay.
Yeah, so he said he's a good guy.
Good.
Yeah, and then Danielle, me and Betsy like to go to the bar on Wednesday nights for wing night.
Yeah.
And she's always there, and she says she does real estate. And she's really good at it.
Okay. Yeah. So hockey and wings. Okay. Let me ask you this: how many houses have they sold in the neighborhood?
I have no idea.
You think that would be important?
Yeah, I think someone that has a track record of selling houses is certainly important. But I also think us having just good rapport with the person that we're working with. This is our biggest investment ever. They're handling 2 sales for us.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we really like the person that we're working with.
Sure.
Yeah.
What if you had the best of both worlds, where you had the #1 agent and you had the best rapport? Would that be a win?
I think that would be a win.
All right, well, that's what our goal is to do.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. You haven't considered selling the house on your own, have you?
Like selling on your own, what do you mean? Like someone that wants to buy it?
Yes, or just trying to put a for sale by owner sign out. It's a goofy sign out front.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think about that, really.
Yeah. Well, listen, here's the thing. Only 5% of the houses sell for sale by owner. So if you want to net the most amount of money, this probably wouldn't be the way to go, because I could give your house away for you. You could give your house away. But you want to get the most amount of money, right?
Well, would I save commission that way?
Usually no, because most of the times a buyer's agent ends up bringing the buyer in anyway.
Okay, so I pay the buyer's agent commission.
And there's nobody representing you. So at the end of the day, when you look at the stats, you end up getting about 20% less than if you put it on the market with a professional.
When you say you put it on the market, what do you mean?
Officially list it on the multiple listing service and expose it to all the realtors and all the buyers.
Oh, because you're exposed to more people.
Correct.
Then you get more buyers coming through.
Correct.
And they want to pay more money.
Yeah, because for sale by owners, usually you take an ad out in the paper and put a sign out, but no one really reads the newspaper anymore and do that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, would you agree that the more people see your property, the better shot you have at getting the highest dollar amount?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Cool. Perfect. Good. So I'm sure look like you've done some research. You know what's going on in the market.
Yeah, well, you're the only one, that we, didn't know personally.
Okay.
Where we did a little bit of research
Good.
to see that you sell a lot of houses locally.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And I'm sure within your research, you've seen some other houses sell.
Yep.
Do you have a target price in mind that you would like to get for the sale of the house?
I don't want to really put that out there. I want to see what number you give me.
Okay, fair enough. So obviously I study these every day. We do a ton of appraisals. We do hundreds of transactions a year. So we know the market. We know how the appraisers and buyers look at these properties. Is there a price that you won't go below that doesn't make sense for you to sell?
Well, in order for us to buy the other house, we probably would have to get over $500,000.
Okay, so 500,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we want to get more than that.
Sure. No, absolutely. Listen, at the end of the day, it's our job is to net you more than if you could do it yourself, or I wouldn't even have a career. Right?
Okay.
So I have all the information I need now. I'm going to send you some information before our meeting. In the email, right? I have your email and your wife's email. Is that the easiest way?
Yeah, you can
Perfect.
do that. You can just drop it off at the house if you want.
Okay. Well, if I'm over your way before, I'll drop it off. If not, I'll email you.
Okay.
But before I come over on Friday, you're going to have some time to review it with your wife.
Okay.
Will you be able to do that?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
do it all with her. Yeah,
Excellent.
definitely.
Excellent. That's important
We'll do it
because
before we go to wing night.
perfect. And then if you get too toasty, you save for the next day.
Okay. All right.
But what I wanted to say is, if I come over to the house and everything makes sense. You guys feel comfortable and confident we can sell the house. Would you be ready to sign the paperwork when I'm there on Friday?
Well, I guess we should wait till we also meet with Danielle and Denny.
Okay. You could, and I appreciate you being honest with me. Do you have any general questions? Because we're going to address a lot when we're at the table.
Okay.
I'm bringing copies of everything, but do you have any general questions for me before I come in?
Yeah, what do you think we can sell for?
So I have to see the house. You know, you don't go to call a doctor and tell me you need surgery without going in for consultation, right? Right. So I don't want to tell you what I think your house is worth without seeing it. It wouldn't be fair to you.
Okay. Like, what do you charge?
It's negotiable.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, good, yeah. 'Cause, yeah.
It's going to be designed to net you the most amount of money.
Okay.
So I'll go through that when I come out.
So we can't talk about that now.
What questions do you have about it specifically?
Well, Mark said he would do it for like 1%.
Ooh, okay. So let me ask you this. Would you agree that this is one of the biggest financial decisions of your life?
Yeah, and this is going to be important, especially for the sale of our house and buying a house. So I'd
Right.
love to save as much money as possible.
Understood. So let me ask you this. If you had to have heart surgery, would you look for the discount, the cheapest surgeon possible, or would you want the best surgeon possible?
Well, for heart surgery, I would definitely want the
Right?
best
Because it's
surgeon
important, right?
possible.
Yeah. So this is important as well. And if commission wasn't an issue and you netted the most amount of money, that would be the most important thing to you, right?
Yeah, as long as I made the most amount of money, if whatever agent can get me the most amount of money, that would be most important to me and Betsy.
Awesome. And that's how we're going to do it. We're going to use the commission to leverage to make sure you guys are getting the most amount of money.
Okay, that sounds fair.
All right. So I will see you on Friday at noon. And our appointment should probably take about an hour, if that's okay.
Well, I have 3 hours blocked off, so yeah, we can take our time and really go through there.
Well, you can take the other 2 hours and go shopping. Because we only need an hour.
You sure?
Yeah, we got it.
All right.
All right. I'll see you on Friday.
Friday sounds great.
You got it.
Thank you, Mike.
You got it. So, conversational, right? I think that was the biggest thing when we did our presentations. We practiced, we role played. So before we did this, we'd role play every day, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock to 7:30. Whoever I was calling around the country, I'd pick up the phone and be like, hey, this is Mike from Coldwell Banker. And we wouldn't even say, hey, it's Mike, how you doing? You ready to role play? We'd just go right at it. Right?
It's essentially through the coaching program.
Yep.
You have other people in the coaching program, so they can be located anywhere else throughout the country. And you had preset time that you were role playing with them for 15 minutes before you started prospecting and cold calling.
Correct.
So you'd be like, all right, Mike, today we want to work on, with withdrawn listings or expired listings. They would role play the expired script back and forth.
It's important because you want to internalize it as much as possible, right? Like, you don't want to sound like you're reading off a script, and I didn't do that even though I was using it as a guide, right? I was just using it as a guide to get to where I wanted to be, which is confirming the appointment, making sure everything is lined up the way I want it before I get to the house, right? Because if they weren't decision makers were going to be there, there's 0 point in doing 2 listing presentations. I've done it multiple times, complete waste of time.
Yeah,
So
you can't do that.
it doesn't make any sense. So these are important things that you want to do when you're going through there. Any questions on that? Do you guys see why I did that and why it makes sense?
Yeah.
Does Tom or Celeste have any questions just about the pre-qualifying the listing appointment?
No, I do not. I definitely thought the questions and the order sounded very natural and good, but it included all the crucial
Yes.
details, whether it was like one-legged appointments or the simple questions of like, how much do you think it will sell for? I just have to see it first.
Yeah, obviously no one knows. We have a pretty good idea.
Right.
We do a decent amount of research, but again, you don't know unless you go through the property. Because guess what? That house, and maybe they sent you some pictures of it, and it looks freaking beautiful. It might be located on a very busy street, or the backyard might be located. There might be a highway behind it on the backyard. So maybe you look at on the Google Street View and you see the front street and it looks nice, but you don't know that the backyard is located on 476. You know, there's all these different things that could affect the price.
Matt, that's a great
I like the
segue.
question about the public record part.
Yes.
Like it's the square footage you always confirm. If
It's
there's any
it's never
additions.
right,
Okay.
right.
It's never right. Now, what about if you see like how much they pay for taxes and it's like super low? And I'm only asking this because the person I have to see on Monday, they're only paying $1,200 a year on taxes.
Okay.
And they, like, how do you ask them why they're paying such low taxes? Because that might be a obstacle to be able to sell to certain.
Yes.
So you want to look, so the public records information will be accurate for taxes.
That's right.
Look at the, so
Okay.
in public records, you can look up the neighbors. Is their taxes that much different than the neighbor's properties?
Okay.
And if it is, then they might have some type of tax exemption.
Exemption, right.
And you just ask, say, hey, I was preparing for our appointment and I noticed your taxes are X, Y, Z. Is there anything you've done specific with the county to get them to this point?
Just ask like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
okay.
just ask straight up. And, you know, the segue, we're kind of going backwards a little bit, but if you want to, where's Liz? So if you go back up to the first page, right? It's a little checklist. Verify the public records, send a copy of the public records, right? If you think something's fishy, this guy, me and my wife own it, but there's two different people on it. There's an LLC involved. Like, these are the things that you want to know. Don't go out to the house because you want to get that information up front. Like, I'm just curious. I know you said you and Jeannie owned it, but I see here that it's owned by 123 LLC. Do you have another interested party that owns it? You know, you're getting all this information out. Oh, yeah, well, my brother is half owned. Oh, okay. Well, the fact that he's on the deed, we're going to have to be talking to him as well. You know, can we include him in this, right? These are the important things. You go through all that and find out that they can't sign or some, right? Executor, executress, something like that if they're older. But they're all the things you want to know, because if something is fishy, Chris can run an L&J on it, right? And he can see, okay, this person's bankruptcy, they this, that, whatever it is, and they will do that for you, right? And if there's something on there, then you can include that in your question asking. Say, hey, listen, I took the liberty to do X, Y, Z to make sure I had all the accurate information. I noticed this is different than what you had mentioned. Can you tell me a little bit about it, right? You know, whatever that might be. Taxes, this, that, you know, easement, another lot, 2 parcel numbers, all kind. Could be anything, right?
Yeah.
But it's important. And I think, too, what you want to do is, and she's not on that page, but do Google Earth, right? This house looks great. You go on, the junkyard's behind it. It's on the railroad tracks, right? What's going to cause it to not sell in a general manner? That might be an issue you have to overcome. You want to know that kind of stuff before you get there. So if you can't drive past, do Google Earth, do whatever you need to do, see what's in the neighborhood, see what's around. Anything that would adversely affect the property is also important. And that's just on your checklist, right? So that's what I do every single time before I go out on an appointment. Any other questions on that? Okay.
I like how you would like repeat back basically everything he said, just like in a different way.
Mhm.
Kind of confirm that you heard it.
Yes, that's important. So part of the NLP process is neurolinguistic, right? That goes into sales is repeating and improving. I do a lot of assumptive closes, meaning, hey, when I come out and I put your house on the market, when we get an offer, I'm always thinking that they're listing with me. They're not giving them an option, right?
Thinking of what you're saying, so you're putting it in their head.
Correct. They don't know they don't catch it. They
Right.
subliminally telling them that I'm going to list the house when I come out and sign the paperwork. When we do this, we get it on the market, right? They're the things that I'm letting them know that they've already committed to me without committing to me. So, stuff you learn when you practice. But any other questions on it? Cool.
So what do you send into the sellers in advance then?
So, right here, CMA. She doesn't have the sheet, but I'm emailing, hey, I've included this market analysis, right? This is what appraisers will use when they value the property. This is what other agents and buyers have access to. So I want to make sure you have the right information that we're, going over, right? And at the end of the day, I send the appointment, the CMA, and then if you want to, I guess, pull it up because we'll go over it before I'm actually at the property just so you guys get an idea. But the CMA that I send is super simple. This is where most agents really screw it up because they send like 50 pages of junk and nonsense and graphs and all stuff that really doesn't mean anything. The only thing they're worried about is what their competition is and where they want to price it, right? You'll know who you're talking to is an expressive person, right? They're very emotional. Do you have to take your time when you're speaking to them? Because here's the deal. They're only going to do business with people that are like them. If you don't mirror and match them, they're not going to click with you. If they talk fast, you better talk fast. If they talk slow, you better talk slow. If they want to elaborate, let them elaborate, right? If it's an analytical person like Mike, I don't give a shit about any of this. What am I going to walk away with? Which I've had a lot. Don't go over all this nonsense. Where's my bottom line? Perfect. I know who I'm talking to, right? I'm not going to go through fluff if they're not interested in it. but the other person might be, right? So when you talk to people, you'll know within the first minute what kind of personality they have, right? And one thing I do want to mention is when I was going through those questions and I asked him when he wanted to be there, if he said, I don't care, I have no time frame, his motivation is very low, which means the chances of him pricing at this sale are very slim, right? So I'm also analyzing whether or not he's motivated enough to listen to me. Because if he says, well, let's just price it here and see what happens, I'm not the person for him, right? If he doesn't have to sell, there's no reason to do that. So I want to know what his motivation is. And then when I get to the house, you guys will see I'll reiterate that. But in the meantime, Matt asked me what I send. So this CMA is the best option I've ever seen. And it's so simple because you're putting a subject property, and then I'll show you guys a snapshot of the pages that I use on the MLS. It's set it as a default when I do my CMA. But you have the subject property, right? And you can override this in a CMA if the seller told you something that's different than the public records. It lets you, change it. Bedrooms, bathrooms, they added something. So that way you're talking to the right information, right? This is powerful, and I know Mary Kay does this a lot. She does a really good job at it. She highlights each property that's in her CMA, pluses and minuses on the subject property, right? So she speaks very intelligently and this, that, and that's what we kind of do here. Now you won't see on the next page that highlighted, but what I would do is I would highlight days on listing price, what it sold for, how many days it took to get there,
Yeah, so
right?
literally you're taking a highlighter, guys.
Yep.
Right? You're going to show which ones are
These are
active.
yeah.
So
Yep.
here's the subject property. You got active. This would be your current competition if you listed it on the market today. Okay? Active under contract means that they listed it at this price. We don't know what it's sold at yet, but we know that this price caused them to go under contract with a buyer.
Yep. They won't tell you. 8 days.
Yeah, 8 days. Yeah, days on market, DOM, days on market. So that's another thing that we're highlighting, right? So we want to show what are the comparables, right? Hey, this is a twin, this is a row, this is a twin, this is a twin. So these are different things you're going through and highlighting: the square footage, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, how many days it took, how many days it's still in the market. This property is listed at $475. It's been in the market for 26 days. It still doesn't have a buyer yet. They gave them an offer.
Right.
This tells a story, and then we got to tell that story to the client.
Exactly. And the numbers don't lie, because when I say, hey, do you see when the houses are priced where they should sell, the days on market is a week. The ones that are sitting on the market forever they're priced too high. So the correlation is if it's priced where it should sell, it's going to sell, right? And then you'll see that in the numbers. And then I asked the sellers, do you know how appraisers appraise properties? Oh, well, sometimes, and I'll get into that in a listing presentation.
Why does a mortgage company have to appraise a property?
Well, man, at the end of the day, if it does not appraise for the contract sales price, the buyer doesn't have to buy the house. And if it's a certain type of loan, that value sticks with the property for a certain amount of time. So you better believe you want to price it where it's going to appraise.
Okay.
Right? And then I go into, in my email when I send this, I say appraisers will use properties that are as similar to yours as possible that have sold. They can't use actives, they can't use pendings. Only solds within a mile, same school district in the last 6 months. That's their number one parameter.
So you got to stay within 1 mile.
1 mile.
Of the subject property.
6 months.
In the same school district.
Yep.
And have to close within the past 6 months.
Correct. That's what the underwriters want to see. So they'll say to you, Mike, well, the house down the street's a single and it's for $800,000. Well, guess what? That's not a comparable. They're not going to use that.
Or they'll say, oh, my neighbor's house was the same property, sold for $600,000. Look it up. You go back, that was 3 years ago.
Exactly. So you're educating in the email. You're not waiting for the objection handler, right? Because you know what the objection handlers are going to be. So I craft the email to answer those questions, so when I get there are no questions because I've already answered them, right? How an appraiser uses, why I use the CMA, why I pick these properties, what the appraiser does. I set that expectation so they know why I sent this information. The kiss of death is them not reading it and them looking at it in your presentation because they're not listening to a damn word you're saying. It's a complete waste of time. They don't care. You could be jumping around doing somersaults and it means zero because they're focused on this the whole time. And then they're digesting it, they're getting mad, they're getting upset. they're yelling, whatever it is, so your whole
Get happy.
presentation is screwed.
So you're saying that you ask them multiple times to make sure they actually.
100%.
Yeah.
Do never want to go over this at the table.
Do you even like give them a call the day of for like a confirm? Just think, did you look it over?
If it's a unique property or I feel that I need to do that, I will.
Yeah.
Right? Most of the time they'll look at it because they want to know. Right? They have an idea in their mind, whether they tell you or not, they do.
I would say always reconfirm the appointment the day of.
100%. 100%. And then if you can get them to tell you what they think their property's worth, you're 90% there. Because then you just factored around that. Now I got to go whether I have to disprove it, I have to tell them that it's priced too low, but I know what my interior goal is because I know what they're thinking in their mind. And if you can get them to answer that, that's gold. That's like the best question you can get answered. So flip to the next page and I'll show you guys, or actually flip to the summary. So this is really the most important. They'll look at each property, go across square footage, all that kind of stuff, but this is where it tells the story because, right, this didn't find a buyer yet. These are under contract. We don't know when they're actually going to settle. So what we do know is we have the closed properties that are going to tell us a really good story and where we're going to be, right? So when I send this, I make it very clear to say there's no suggested listing price right now. We're going to determine that when I get to the house, right? Because they're going to look at that and they're going to be like, oh, is it 5? And I'm like, this is what it's telling us. We'll come with a plan.
What would change that number?
Anything. Condition, timing, mostly condition, right? If the condition was different than what they had explained, or it's way worse when they said it needs some work and it's unlivable. There are a lot of different, people have their concept of what fixer-uppers are, right? Everyone's got their different thought process, but that would change that number, obviously.
And oftentimes to get that number too, like they need to do stuff at the house. And that's where like Mary Kay's really good with like creating a punch list. A lot of time it's decluttering, a fresh coat of paint always goes a very long way.
It is, it's
inside
true.
the property. And they're all the things that you talk about when you get there as well.
Yeah, it's very rare that their house is ready to go like that day. Like I could probably count on the thousands of listings I've taken where one person was like, hey, it's show ready, put a sign on the ground, ready to go. It never happened, right? But we always want to get the listing contract signed that day. I always act like I'm never coming back to this house, ever. This is it. I'm not coming back for a second time to get this signed. We're getting the paperwork signed today. So that's my mentality when I go out.
Phone call close.
That's it. Because if you keep going back and back, the process it's not the same, right? But this is why I use that. It's simple and easy. There's no graphs, there's no charts, there's no nonsense. It's just very simple, right? And one thing I do want to tell you while we're on this is if you look at, was it page 6 for the market stats? Most agents don't even use this, and this is my most powerful tool in the world. And this helped me get so many listings over the years. Because as you guys know, real estate's hyper-local. I wouldn't price the property in Conshohocken the same way I price it in Norristown, right? Or Pottstown. I wouldn't go out to Malvern and use comps from Pottstown, right? Completely different demand, completely different market, right? So I want to know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, in this price point from $400,000 to $600,000, in the last 12 months, these are the amount of houses that came on the market. There were 79 houses that were able to be purchased in that time frame. When they hit the market, 64 made it to settlement. So that tells me if you divide 69 or 64 into 79, 81% of the houses in this price range in Conshohocken sell, right? I've done this where it's been 30 and 40, right? So I know if that's a 30 or 40 number, we better be super aggressive on the price. We're not testing the market. We have to price it pretty much below what the actual appraised value is because there's no demand for that price point in that area, right? So this tells me the story so I can say, okay, this is a very strong market. I know that we're going to probably get multiple offers if we price it right. And Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if this house goes on the market today, buyers have 15 houses to choose from besides yours, right? So, well, Mike, how many days does it take to sell these houses? On average, a little under 3 weeks, if it's priced right, right? Because that's what I want to know. How long is it going to take me? How long? Everything's how long? There you go, right there.
Do you
It's
want to be
price
part of the 64 that's sold, or you want to be the?
That's exactly right. Yep. So that when you explain it like that, there's nothing there's no objections. The numbers are the numbers. I mean, they're right from the public records. They are.
Yeah.
Right. So they can have their opinion, but it doesn't mean anything. Right. It really doesn't. So, any questions on that?
On the news, that houses are selling like, okay, the news is also talking about houses on a national level.
Yeah, I mean, California, right, exactly. So, any questions on that? I know a lot of you guys have seen me go over this multiple times, and some of you haven't, but
So one that I went over with Tom again, how you can tell if it's a buyer's market or a seller's market or an even market. And this is like overall how a market looks. So the inventory accumulation, if that sits at 6, right? So this is how long would it take to sell all the houses that are currently on the market for them to sell or expire or get withdrawn off the market, right? So for that month, it's 1.9 months is how long it would take for that to happen. If that number is at 6, that's considered an even market. It's not a buyer's market, it's not a seller's market. Every number above that is the more of a buyer's market is. 7 is more of a buyer's market, 8, 9, 10. The higher it goes, the longer it's going to take to sell your house. You have way more competition as a seller.
yeah.
We've been fortunate that we've been in the seller's market now. So the lower the number is, the more of a seller's market is, right?
Yeah.
So 1.9 is a very big seller's market. Now, we've been in the seller's market for so many years now that this number is creeping up. Me and Tom were going through yesterday. I think we saw 3 or 4 in Philly.
It's like 3.8.
3.8. And it feels like a huge buyer's market. But technically, it's still a seller's market.
We had 8 and 9 here. So I was doing, it was price reduction Monday. Every Monday was price reductions. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we have to improve the price to get more buyers. I never said price reduction, never. Kiss of death, right? We got to improve the price. Well, Mike, you mean to tell me I have to pay the bank and pay you? Yes. So they were coming to the settlement table with checks. They weren't getting checks, right? Everybody was underwater. And then we had to convince them.
There are, no matter what market it is, people will always have to buy and sell real estate.
Yep.
Certain markets, there's going to be way more people have to do it. Other markets, there's not. But divorce, death,
Yeah.
all that stuff happens in any market, and people have to sell. So there's going to be scenarios, there's going to be markets, which we went through, where people literally had to come to the table with a check in order to pay off whatever was owed on their mortgage or to pay the real estate agent.
Yep. Price reduction Mondays. And price reduction was like a new listing.
Yeah. Norristown, dude, I remember Norristown back in like 2010, 11, 12. It was like 14.
Yeah.
It was inventory accumulation.
So we were pricing 20% below appraised value just to get a person through the door, and they probably negotiate even lower than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and those days they'll be here at some point down the road. We won't be that aggressive, but there'll be a more even market. Well, you have to do price reductions, right? But it becomes even more important to price it right, because everybody knows the more days on market, the less you get for the house.
And again, when you have the printed material with you, you always want to highlight, because this will,
Exactly. Yeah,
they won't
that'll be
able to absorb
highlighted.
it, but the highlighted portions they will, right?
Yes.
So you highlight the totals.
Because all the other numbers don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Right. You're only highlighting this number, right? This number, and then I highlight here to show them I'm only looking at Conshohocken in this price point in this time frame.
And then you write in pen on here. This is
Yep.
81%.
81%.
Right? So boom,
Yep.
boom, and then this is how you get the 81%.
Yep.
This 81% of the houses are selling.
So they'll know you're teaching them the demand in their neighborhood, and they have no idea what that is. So when you teach them that, you get more credibility because you're proving the numbers and you're explaining why. So, any questions on that?
So what would you price it? Did you say what would you price this at?
Well, we're going to go
Oh,
through
you
the role
already
play.
started,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
This is a property we own, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
There is a house on East 10th that I want to say, I just went to an open house
Oh,
with
yeah.
kids like 2
Across
days ago.
the
Yeah.
couple
on
doors up?
Yes. And it's pending now, correct?
Okay. I didn't check it.
Okay.
recently.
But I was wondering, I know they had listed it kind of like low 5s.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went pending like the next day, but okay.
Yeah, pretty much spot on, give or take. There's a good amount of comps. These, when you're looking in an area like Conshohocken, there's more twins and row homes than anywhere. You'll have tons of good comps to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not so much if you get to more unique areas, you might have to go a little farther out, right?
Right.
Maybe more than a mile, maybe 8 months, right? They'll make adjustments for lack of comps right? So you got to understand how that process works. But that's a story for another day. But here you'll have enough information to do.
And besides a fresh coat of paint, any other just general rule of thumbs that
It depends on the property about landscaping outside. Like,
Landscaping.
if you want, you can certainly sit with Mary
Yes.
Kay for a couple of minutes. She's the queen.
I mean, so here's a good rule of thumb. We look at stuff that will cause the house not to function properly. Cosmetics are one thing, right? How's the roof? Does the heater work? How's the plumbing, the electric? These are things that will affect safety and health and the functionality of the property, right? That's what a home inspector is going to look at. So home inspector's not really going to care what color the walls are, any of that kind of stuff, right? That's stuff you can do cosmetically, but I want to know what's behind the scenes that's going to cost me a ton of money, right? That's going to affect it. Right. Any other questions?
All right, listen
Cool.
to appointment.
So you'll see throughout this, Liz put some really cool pointers, right? And this is more of psychology, right? Getting there a little early, being dressed appropriately, right? Taking your shoes off when you walk in the door, speaking directly to both of them.
Yeah, you're a professional. You
You
want
know.
to dress like a professional.
Right.
You're not showing up in shorts and a polo shirt for a listing and presentation.
Yep. So
You're on
you-
time, you're late. You want to be early.
Exactly. I mean, these are really important things, and you know it's generational. You know, a lot of the people that you want to get the listings for might be older, right? And these are more important things than somebody that might be millennial, right? You know, these things they look for, they're eyeing you up, and they're going to decide whether or not, before you even speak, they're going to look at you and be like, I don't want to work with this person. And whether it's right or wrong, it just happens all the time. So I'm not going to give them a reason not to want to work with me because I'm dressed sloppy or I have sneakers on or whatever nonsense, right? Like, I'm going to be professional to make sure that this is what I do all day, every day. This isn't part-time. This is my career. You know, I take this very seriously, and I want to show up that way, right? So when we get to the house, they're confused a lot of times. What do we do, right? They don't know. I say, listen, you know, appreciate you having me come over. I'm going to put my presentation down on the table. I want to take a walk around the property. Do you want me to come with you? No, listen, I want to see it in the eyes of a buyer. And if I have any questions, I'll let you know, right? If it's a unique property and it's something over the top that you need, that's a different story, right? That can come and go. You don't want to be rude, but you also don't want to be in every room for 20 minutes explaining how they put the wallpaper here and they did that, because all that's irrelevant. I don't care what it looked like 10
Well, I
years
think,
ago.
yeah, the one thing that you want to do too when you get there is reaffirm the time constraint. Just so you
Oh,
know.
yeah, exactly. So it's going to take about an hour. Mr. Seller, I want to respect your time, but you're really worried about your time. You don't want to spend more than an hour there. Mr. Seller, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I want to get right to the point, make sure we cover the most important things. Just like I talked about on the phone. Part of me coming to the property is just walking around and taking my notes. If that's okay, give me 5 minutes. I'm going to leave my stuff on the table. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well,
Right.
yeah. But
Right. So if you can do it that way, great. You know, if they insist on walking with you, just don't be in every room for an hour.
You
It's-
will have some people that
That will
literally, like, they
insist,
think.
yeah.
this
You gotta
is an
move it-
8-hour
move it
appointment.
along,
They have
yeah.
your time for you.
Yes.
but very generally so.
Correct.
Like you just set it down. I'm going to have to do this through the eyes of a buyer.
Right.
So we gotta.
Right.
Yep, and then
I
you're gonna have
gotta
any
go.
questions. You're taking your notes as you're walking through, and then you have these questions that you might
Yeah.
implement.
Well, why don't you want me to walk through, Mike? Well, are you going to be here with every showing? With the buyers? No? Okay, well then
Yeah.
they're going to be looking through themselves, so I want to see how it's going to present and what questions I have for you, right? So, just, I'm going to say common sense things, but it's just to reiterate some of the things, right? When you're getting there doing that, sitting down, hey, listen, let's sit somewhere where you can speak to both decision makers, you know, preferably not outside in the yard, standing around. You're sitting at a table and you're able to present correctly your information. You know, it doesn't seem like it's important, but it really is. And some people just focus on one party, the husband or the wife, and then the other person feels slighted, and then when you leave, they're like, I don't know. So you just got to treat everybody the same. Whether it's a $100,000 listing or a $10 million listing, you treat them exactly the same. You do the same process for everybody, right? So let's go through some of the language. You went through that. So sitting at the table, right? And in our drive, there's step-by-step questions that you go through, right? It's really 3 buckets. Confirming the condition, right? Going over the paperwork and signing, getting signed. That's it. All right, look through the house. Matt, let's see here, where I want to be. All right, so Matt, I'm glad you guys had a chance to look at the CMA I sent you guys. I took a walk through the property, I took some notes. House is in good condition, pretty much everything that you mentioned. I see here that the mechanical is a little older, like you mentioned, right? Were you planning on doing anything to the property to get it ready for sale?
I mean, they work completely fine. They might work for another 30 years.
Okay, so you're going to keep everything the way it is. Are you open to doing some updates or some things that would help you get more money for the property?
Like what?
Well, I
Can you
see
picture
here. I see here that the rugs are shot upstairs. I would say shot. I would say
I was like,
a little worn.
They're brand new.
Rugs are a little worn. I know you said that they were new a couple, 10 years ago. Would you be open to replacing those if you knew that you were going to get more money for the property?
I'd be willing to spend money as long as I knew I would get that money back and it would make me money. I'm not going to spend the money if it's not going to make me any money.
And we would never tell you to do that because it'd be a waste of time.
Okay.
Right? So I put together a list of things I recommend that you would do in order to get the property ready for sale.
Okay.
Right? So we can go over that. And one of the things that I wanted to do is tie that in with the market analysis. Because now that I see the condition of the property, you can see all the other ones that have sold, right? So I'd pull out the CMA. I have my copy, they'd have their copy. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what questions do you want me to go, what things do you want me to go over on this market analysis? Well, I see here that, the days on market is a little different. Matt, if you want to chime in and you want to be your seller.
What you sent me over, it was good because I thought the houses in Conshohocken were selling way more because I know one a couple blocks away sold for almost $1 million.
Yeah, I know. And listen, there are houses that are selling for almost $1 million. However, what we have to focus on is houses that are like yours.
Yeah, I mean, that was a,
Right, yeah.
a bigger new construction house, but I
Right.
figured since that's only a block away, like I'd, maybe take off $100,000 or something.
I wish it worked that way, Matt. It's going to be a selling point, but it's not going to determine the value of your property.
Yeah, so what you sent me, it was just ones like that were comparable to mine and then within a certain price range.
Yep. Same bedrooms and bathrooms, same square footage, generally the same condition, in the same area, the same school district. So that way, you're talking like-minded properties. Same thing an appraiser is going to look at. And more importantly, when your house is on the market and the agent wants to make an offer and they call me up and they say, Mike, how'd you come up with this price? And I'd say, well, I don't know. We just picked a number out of there, right? I don't know. Seller wanted this. No, we priced it because the CMA, here, I'll send it to you, Mr. Buyer's agent, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer's agent. This is why you price it this way, right? So I tell the sellers, and I always use this line, it's like going to court. If I don't have documentation to prove why I did this, then it's just pulling a number out of the air. And that doesn't work usually, right?
The other line you always say too is, you got to sell this price 3 separate times.
Oh,
You gotta
yeah,
sell
yeah.
it to the seller once, the price that we're going to list
The
it
buyer,
at.
yeah, the
Then I got
buyer.
to sell it to the buyer, right, for them to put an offer in. And then I got to sell it to the buyer's mortgage company so they give you a mortgage for it.
Right.
So I got to sell this same number 3 times.
So can you see why using these properties are important?
Yep.
Yeah, see, go. So I just go through there, right? And then they say, well, what about this property, what about that property? And these will already be highlighted, like Matt said. So you're not going through, oh, it's fee simple and it's a standard set, all irrelevant, right? You're only highlighting the most important things. So Matt, now that we went through the market analysis here, what do you think the price should be in order to get the property sold?
Well, based upon everything that you sent over me, it looks like the value is probably around that 500,000, which was kind of the bottom, the least amount what we were trying to get. We were really hoping we would get, maybe like 600,000, something along those lines. Is there anything that we can do to try to get that $600,000 number?
Couple things. Number one, doing a list that we recommend, and we have contractors that can help you with it. So we make it as easy for you as possible. We have a smart sell program where we could do this work for you with our contractors. We could build it into the commission. Or we can help you just give the contractors, or you can do it on your own and we can time around it to make sure you're getting it.
Well, what are you saying? So how much work would I need to do in order to get that?
Well, this list is what we talked about, right? So doing some painting, you know, making sure that the flooring is in good condition. We could do one thing where you can get a pre-listing inspection.
Okay.
And you know why that's important?
Why?
Because most buyers are going to get inspections. And to find out what's wrong with your house during the middle of a transaction versus at the beginning would be a little bit more, because you can address these things ahead of time.
Oh, just take care of the stuff that comes.
Correct. So then there will be no surprises when you go under contract.
Yeah, we don't want to spend a lot of money. But yeah, it looks like it's worth around $500,000. We would love to get more than that. We'd
Yep.
certainly be willing to do some things on a list as long
Good.
as we would get that money back and we would make money because of it.
Perfect. And a lot of my sellers do the exact same thing, so that's a great decision. And based upon what the list is, you probably can get these things done in about 2 weeks, right? And if you need help, we can do that, which really puts us, you know, in the end of July and going through the questions that I had asked you, right? It's still important to you to be in Westchester by the holidays, right? And you're moving closer to your family. So all these things that we talked about in the beginning are still the same. Nothing's changed, right?
No,
Okay.
nothing's changed.
Okay.
Love to get it done by then.
Perfect. And, you know, the pricing is going to be important because if you do those things and we price it where it's going to sell. Now, I know you said you wanted 600,000, and I'm sure you've been seeing in the market, there's not a lot of inventory. So if you price it where you're going to get the most exposure to buyers, guess what happens?
What?
You get more people interested.
Okay.
And what happens is you have two people interested that make an offer.
That don't make an offer?
That make an offer.
Oh, I don't know what.
You get no bidding war.
Oh, okay. I
And
like that.
the 600 or 550 or 525 you were hoping for could be a possibility.
Okay.
And if there's a bidding war, then you have the opportunity to take certain contingencies out.
What do you mean by contingencies?
So, meaning, if you have someone that wants to make an offer contingent upon home inspection, and then they're competing against a couple other offers, there's a high probability they might waive that. And you know what would make that even higher probability is if you had a pre-listing home inspection,
That makes sense.
right? So there are things that we would recommend you to do. But at the end of the day, my thought is, you said price at $500,000. I think 4,999 will get you the most exposure and most probability to get in the low to mid fives in this market.
Mark and Danielle told me they could get me like way more than that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: why did they say that specifically? Have they been in your house?
They even come through.
Okay.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
said that they could.
So do you think that that's a realistic number if they haven't even seen it?
I mean, not based upon all these market stats that you're giving me.
Right, because this is right from the public record. So
Maybe Mark and Danielle don't know what they're talking about.
well, maybe Mark should stick to his roller derby. Maybe Danielle should stick to her wings. There's some objection handlers on the last page, right? So you get an idea, right? Then I'm closing for, I'm closing for the property, right? Hey, listen, we talked about the timing, we talked about the price, we've agreed on this. The natural next step is a close, right? Listen, we're all on the same page. I'm excited to get to work for you. All we gotta do is just get this contract signed. I had the liberty to fill everything out before I got here, except for the price, because I wanted to make sure that we're on the same page, $499.9.
Well, Mike,
Yes.
we're not listing it today. Can
No,
I
no.
just get this signed, when we're ready to list the property?
Well, Matt, here's the beauty of it. We can list it whenever you want. This allows us to get to work for you today because there's a high probability we have a buyer in our database already. But I can't even talk to them about that unless I have this.
Oh, so we have to have it signed now just so
Correct.
you can start working on the listing.
Correct. And the beauty of it is we'll put a go live date, right? So that'll be the date you're going to work towards as your goal,
Okay,
right? And no one will see the house until that time.
okay.
But ideally, guess what? When we have the house hit the market, I already have buyers lined up ready to come in. Wouldn't that be good?
Yep,
Right.
that would sound good.
Good. So then let's put me to work. Let's get this paperwork signed.
All right, Betsy, you feel comfortable with this paperwork with Mike?
I'm not leaving. No. A lot of common objections. Well, I want to think about it. Great. Usually if somebody wants to think about it after I'm done, it's because I didn't cover something. What else can I reiterate that I might have missed that you want to know about?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What information is missing to stop you from moving forward tonight? Right. There's always something. Well, I owe it to this other agent. Terrific. Listen, I'm going to call the other agent, let them know you signed with me, and they'll be the first person to know that they can bring a buyer in. Right? That way they can still be part of the transaction and still get paid. Right? Common listing objections.
Well, why don't you guys throw out some objections you have. So imagine you're the seller, you're selling your house. What are some objections and things that you could throw out to the realtor?
Those were definitely the first three.
I've heard from friends of mine that this is a bad time to put your house on the market. Should we wait until the fall?
That's a good question, Danielle. What were they saying about why it's bad?
There's nobody really looking during this time.
Well, CMA says differently because these houses are going under contract within a week. So I don't know how accurate that would be. Would you agree with that?
Sure.
The fact that over 80% of the houses hit the market are selling seems that it's a pretty decent time to sell. And you want to be in Westchester by Christmas. So we got to get moving.
Good point, right? To go back
Reiterate,
to the
yeah.
timing of it.
Reiterate.
So if you wait to the fall and you're trying to be in your property by Christmas.
Yeah. Another good one is, what would it mean to you and your family if you couldn't be out there by the time you wanted to? Oh, Mike, that's not an option. I got to be there. Okay. Then you know the motivation's there. So that's always a good one because you're iterating, you're making them think about the negative side if they don't get the house sold, which psychologically focuses on the positive side. What other questions do you have? The commission one's not even really an issue anymore because with the new law, it barely comes up, right? Hey, guess what? You're going to save money right off the bat because I'm not negotiating for the buyer's agent. Right? They could offer 1%, they could offer 3%, but guess what? It's negotiable. They're only worrying about paying me. And never out
When
of.
sellers get an offer, they'll think about it, they'll think about going back with the revised structure, but then they just decide they'd rather have the offer in hand than potentially push it away. For the most part, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, we just went through it with Dr. Lenny,
Yeah.
right? He's like, well, I don't want to pay the buyer's agent commission. Right? Well, this is the only offer that we have on the table.
Did you say that to him?
Like so, yeah.
I knew there was a conversation on the side. It came to Jesus.
So, like, you know, we're not really holding higher power for negotiating that for you right now, you know? We were able to negotiate some other things that the seller wanted, but we weren't able to negotiate that. And I think with getting the listing contract signed, it's been a lot easier conversation on our part is because he explained to them, hey, you know, before I'd always try to get 6% signed, you know, we would take 3% on our side and then we would proactively offer out 3% for whoever could procure a buyer. Right now, I'm only negotiating what you were paying me. You know, 3% is what I charge for it. When we receive offers on your home, what the buyer agent commission, like there's oftentimes you're still going to pay the buyer agent commission, and oftentimes it's going to fall in that 2.5%, 3% range, but it's a term that we can negotiate, just like the purchase price, just like inspections, just like the settlement date. It's just going to be another thing that we can negotiate to help try to net you the most amount of money. All I'm asking for is for you to commit to me, and it would cost 3% of the purchase price.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest things, and you sometimes don't notice till you get there, because you know Jim and I just went through this, and it's happened a lot before, is just when the buyers or the sellers are not on the same page.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's really
That's
hard.
a tough one.
You know.
See, it's not an objection. It's not an objection. It's a condition,
Yeah.
right?
What's that?
It's not an objection. It's a condition.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's not something that you can just fix
No, you
sometimes
can't.
at the presentation.
You cannot.
And sometimes you don't even know that until you get there.
That's
'cause
correct.
They act like they're on the same page.
That's
And
correct.
then you realize they don't even like each other. I don't know. They may not be living together. This may be the end. Like,
Well, that's why it's
somebody-
important for
you
both
know.
of them to at least like you, right? So
Right.
you're including both of them, you're acknowledging them, you're looking at both in their eyes. You're getting, just say Mary Kay and Jim are the sellers, Mary Kay's doing most of the talking, I'm listening, and I would ask Jim, you know, how do you feel about that? What about this? You know, so you're getting engagement from
Right.
both parties.
And listen, you know, the beauty of being on a team is if you have to bring another person with you. You know, Bree and I would get a lot of listings because the couple felt comfortable with both of us versus just me, right? She would talk to the wife a lot of times. I would talk to the husband. We'd be out of there in an hour with
Or
contract.
vice versa.
I'd be signing.
Yeah.
I'd be do the paperwork. She'd be talking about drapes, whatever the situation is, or vice versa, and we'd be out of there because they just felt comfortable. And if there's situations like that, there's always somebody around to go with you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, read the room, hypothetically speaking, right? And you'll know this. You know, I might need somebody with me.
Yeah, we always feel like your chances increase significantly when you have a guy and a girl at the
Yes.
same time going there, especially when there's
Psychology.
a previous relationship, right? Because again, the wife might, you know, relate more to me, and the husband to the girl, or vice versa. And then when they leave there, you know, they feel really good about, oh, you know, we could work with those people.
Exactly, exactly. So if there's situations like that, just let one of us know. I mean, if we got with
What
you.
were they not on the same page about?
Yeah.
You wanna tell?
Yeah, well, I guess it's, the husband likes the house that they are in. They, this is a upscale luxury home. They, in 2024, they purchased a investment property to flip. The wife fell in love with it. So they want to move into the flip. The husband is perfectly happy where he is. But the husband is anxious and stressed because he just wants, whatever the decision is, he just wants to do it, right? He just, even though he doesn't want to move, he just, you know, whatever it is, whatever the wife decides, you know, let's just do it.
Yeah, but he also said, I just could just stay here. So
Oh, yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
still trying to figure it out. Like
Does he love the house so much, or does he not want to deal with moving?
That's a good question.
Is it
I mean,
just
they've got boxes in there. I
Yeah,
said to
they're
Jim, I'm like,
pretty
they're
They're
moving.
moving,
Like,
they're
his
moving.
stuff is getting out of here. He told me that, you know, the neighbors, when he moved in, everybody hated him, nobody liked him, because now I have all these friends. And I said, yeah, that must be hard to leave. And he goes, and they're, you know, I'm the smallest house in the neighborhood, and they're all worried about what we're gonna price it at. So I think he's got a lot of that anxiety going on as to like what people's perception is gonna be and why they're moving and all. She doesn't care. She wants to move. I think he's trying to figure it all out. He's going, right? Like he's going whether he likes it or not. But he wanted us to feel like he doesn't have to leave. Like he made that very clear to me. Like I don't have to leave if I don't want to. Like
So
I
then the
can stay.
wife,
I'm like,
the
okay.
wife says, well, they have something personal going on. And so that's taken up their attention. So she used that as the excuse of not making a decision at the moment. She has a friend, possibly, or a prior customer. They sold a telecommunications company. What that is, I have no idea. They sold cell phones, I have no idea. She said that this realtor was a customer of hers, so I just assumed maybe they just had a cell phone business.
Right.
That Danny with the flyers, husband.
Danny, it was her, I forget
Greer?
her husband's name.
Danny Greer.
I have a picture of him.
Yeah.
He's a flyer.
An ex-flyer?
Hobo's?
Danny Greer.
That's the one I sent to you. No, it's a different last name.
Carcilla?
Unless she's got a different.
Arcilla?
Mm-mm.
No.
It was with an H.
Come on, Mark, come on.
Mark knows.
I think when
I
she
see
took
his
her
face on it.
picture as a realtor, she's got her husband sitting next to her in a Flyers outfit.
Oh, but I don't think he played for the Flyers, did he?
Yeah, he played for the
Oh, he played
Flyers.
for them.
Yeah,
Like a long time ago?
Did Schultz was
Smith?
probably. No, it's an H. I sent it to you, Matt, because I said, do you know her? 'Cause I didn't know her.
I get it.
Here it is.
I do have to go.
Hospital.
Okay, great.
Ed Hospital.
Well, nice to meet you. Yeah, listen, nice to meet you. Glad you were able to come in.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did Roll Celeste?
Yes.
Awesome, okay.
I'm gonna get my little bathroom camp. I'm gonna miss her.
Good luck on Monday.
Yes, thank
Let's
you.
know how you make out.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's know how you make out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, everyone. Nice meeting you
Nice
all.
to meet
See you later. I mean, certain like certain situations like that. I've been like, if you guys do decide to move, is there what's your concerns? Like what's worrying you? Let's talk through it. And then maybe we just move and we could be like, hey, we have the best movers. You don't even have to worry about that stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't have contractors, I don't have junk butters, I don't have mover, like this is just way too overwhelming. I
Right.
just don't want to deal with it.
Right.
And the more that you relate with them, like this is why you're going to hire me. I can run all this.
Right.
The air
I'm a
traffic
problem
controller.
solver, right?
Yeah.
And all you can do is offer to ask.
Right.
Hey, I'll talk through it. What are your concerns about moving that I can help you with? And if they don't want to talk, then you've tried.
Yeah.
We
Right.
got vendors for all this stuff.
Yeah.
When, where, why.
It might be something silly that they're stuck up on that is not really even an issue.
I mean, even like something silly, like the first objection is like, we're not ready to list yet. Well, they just need to be explained to that it's fine, we're only going to list it when you do it, but they still don't understand that, so you just
Right.
calmly say that to them, and they're like, oh, okay, fine, okay, then I'll still sign. And that's like kind of what yeah.
It's true because maybe they're watching HGTV nonsense where, none of that's reality, right? It's what they think the perception is usually not the reality. So you got to ask them what they think and then explain to them the reality of how things work, right? And you're always educating. My whole thing was, I educate my clients to make the best financial decision, right? I can't make them do anything, but I can give them the best information to make a good decision, right? And they make the ultimate decision.
You guys, so in the drive you have the listing presentation. So this is pretty much always stuff you want to go through, and it answers a lot of their objections in there. We have a list of resources in here. Pre-listing inspection, real estate attorney, estate planning, 1031 exchange, moving, junk removal.
I'd be surprised if they had a situation where we didn't have somebody for it. I would be shocked.
Yeah. But this is what you also said with the CMA. You send the listing presentation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a good point. So how about when I was at ERA and I was 20 years old and they told me that I had to take my listing presentation book that was 50 pages and explain each page.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. They don't care about any of this stuff. How awesome I am and how great the company is. Like, no, they want to know what we're going to do to get the property sold. So a lot of agents still do that, and I don't understand why. And they lose people right off the bat. They just over talk too much. And they talk themselves right out of a deal.
Even like with like one call close kind of like appointments and stuff, they sometimes will stress to make sure you go over all the different details.
Yeah.
And the counterintuitiveness of like just going in there and them wanting to go through the walkthrough of the house with you, but no, it's gonna take too long.
Right. No, I'm respecting your exactly. You always put it back on them.
People,
Yeah.
hook, line, and sinker appreciate that.
They do, and I always send the presentation, and 99.9% of the time, I never pull it out because I ask them, did you get a chance to look through the presentation? Yes. Did you have any questions? Nope.
Yeah.
I never pull it out, ever. And if they do have a specific question about showings, I go to the page, well, we use showing time, and you'll always be alerted before someone comes through. There'll always be a realtor there, blah, 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 blah.
Thanks for the CMA.
One thing that I do,
Step two, with the
yes.
ones that you use.
you know what, one thing that I did forget to tell you is very, very crucial, and we got to add this in. When I'm at the house, I ask them, what's the most important thing you're looking for in a real estate agent? That's key, because guess what? That's what we're going to focus on, and that's what I do best, whatever it is. I don't care what it is, that's what I specialize in, right? And you make people feel comfortable, because if you've been through scenarios that they're in and you explain a scenario, like, oh, I moved my dad downsized, I got him into Stewart's Keep, right? People are downsized. I just put it, and you explain a scenario that you've been through, where you've helped somebody in their exact same situation, completely different, right? And then they're all comfortable, and so you do that a lot too. The more questions that you ask, the better, because I'm not telling anybody anything. I'm giving the information based upon their questions. If it doesn't concern them, then I'm not going to go over it, because it's just pointless. They're not going to listen to me anyway.
I went through a walkthrough last week in North Wales, and everything was going fine. I mean, I really got the sense they were ready to sign. But in my experience, if they know that you're coming and the house is a shithole when you arrive, you're gonna have to deal with that, right? So, you know, I tried to be as smooth as possible in suggesting a few things, and whatever I said, I could see the face just come down, you know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I just lost it. You know, what did, and I'm thinking to myself, what did I just say? You know,
Right.
and I said something, you know, something in the fact that, you know, I noticed, you know, there's a strong odor, you know, a pet odor, and you're probably going to have to clean the bathrooms and clear out the kitchen counters and put away the clothes and maybe, you know, not, I didn't ask for carpet replacement, but just vacuum and clean. Maybe it was the vacuum.
You gotta make everything seem like it's not a big deal.
And you could say, listen, I'll have a list of stuff. Let's get the paperwork signed. I took my notes. I'll type it up like Mary Kay does. When we were at a listing appointment last night, yeah.
She couldn't wait for me to
Yeah.
get out of the house.
Yeah, like
You know, now
every
my
house I
husband
walk,
doesn't talk to me,
Yeah.
and like, so.
yeah, like every house I walk through looks like this. This is not a big deal. We can help you out with it. You know, that's
It really is. I mean, make nothing a big deal and then deal with it after the fact. Be like, hey, listen, I put this list together. These are the things I think we should do.
the same list. Yeah, this 80% of the houses we walk through
Yeah.
have this same exact list.
Yeah. So I got my list. You know, they want to talk about the list now. But here's a couple things to freshen up, recommendations. I'd rather have the list together and go over it with you if that's okay. Right? So that way you're not putting you on the spot. Well,
I
what
can't
about
give you
this?
the list until I'm working with you.
Yeah. This is part of what I do. So
Secret list. I only give this to my clients.
it's true.
So you're definitely not divulging like anything to them until you sit down with them about like the conditional parts of the house.
So you read the room.
Yeah, read the room.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's okay to, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Right? You know, people get offended over weird shit.
Yeah.
Right?
I
So
definitely do, yeah.
what offends one person might not offend somebody else. If they're very edgy, the house looks like shit, keeps it like shit, I'm probably not going to say nothing there. I'm probably going to be like, okay, I got everything I need. Let's get the paperwork signed. I'll get back to you with next steps on what I think we should do. Right? And then it's like, I think you should do this. Do you want to do it? I mean, then it'll affect the price. So if you don't want to do this, then we have to revisit the price again because I priced it based upon all these things being done.
Yeah.
Which is fine if you don't want to do them. We just have to reflect that in the asking price.
Cool.
But not everyone's going to want to do anything. We just have to change the price.
Nice.
Nice.
It's all psychology is really all it is. But this is the most important presentation in our job, right? You're applying for a job every single day you go through this. You're
Yeah.
applying for a job constantly,
Yeah.
If
right?
you're applying for a job, what do? You look nice.
Yeah, same
presentable,
thing.
You're showing up on time. It's like all the simple things apply.
All the simple things. And the psychology of stuff, people forget. But they're forming an opinion of you by everything you do, your mannerisms, how you speak, how you walk, how you talk, everything, right? And if you mirror them, then they're going to feel comfortable, right? Because they'll, oh, he's like me, cool, I feel comfortable, right? Cool.
Thank you guys for all coming in today. The calendars are updated for Wednesday meetings. We're going to be missing a couple Wednesday meetings. People down the shore, so. When we do have them, we're going to try to bring a lot of value. Guillermo is going to be coming in town for a month, so he's going to do a training for us, which I think I already sent to everybody in like mid-July. July 15th, yeah. Any questions? Keep on working. Let's keep
Yeah.
on trying to get pendant deals.
And if any of you guys want to go over any of this stuff,
Can I move this?
yeah,
Okay.
just, schedule a
Yeah.
time and we can go over any particular part that you want to polish up on or just practice.
Yeah, and when you have the stats, when you go over before you go in there, you just naturally feel so much more confident and have more conviction on your price, and that's relayed to the other person. They can
Correct.
see when you have confidence and conviction, and you have stats to back it up.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's no longer your opinion, it's
Right, it's
based
facts.
on facts.
It's based on, I can't fudge in numbers, they are what they
You're
are.
out of the hot seat of giving them the number.
Yes.
Hey, and the best thing is, if you happen to underprice a property in the market that we're in because it's a seller's market, it's likely going to get bid up to what the market value is anyway,
That's true. That's true.
if not above it.
That's very true.
But the worst thing you do is overprice one because it'll actually cost you more.
Yes.
And you can actually show that through the stats, which is always good to show.
That's why it's important for them to see the CMA ahead of time, because if they want to argue with each other, they'll argue the night before you're there, not in front of you. And then they'll be all emotional, and then they'll sleep on it, and then they'll have digested it, and then they'll understand it and be prepared for you to tell them the truth.
And with the CMA, we send it over. I also send a separate email from the MLS so they can see all the pictures of each one and the write-ups, what's going to be in the comps.
So when you arrive,